Hello, everyone. It's Taking It Down, weirdly TV and streaming podcast for the Alabama Take, looking at television through working class lenses, letting you know if a TV show is worth your time or if you've watched it, sharing our insights about each episode we discuss in the front half. Front half is non-spoilers. We take a break. The back half is spoilers based on the episode. Welcome. If this is your first time listening, tell us hello. Send us an email to thealabamatake@gmail.com. Go to the site, thealabamatake.com. That's our home site. I know that's not our name. This week on the podcast, we are doing just two shows. We are covering the second episode of Task on HBO. Gripping drama. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. And we're also doing the middle section of Alien Earth on FX Hulu. If you like science fiction, you can't miss it. If you don't like science fiction, still some good things going on there. We'll discuss those a little bit later on. To help me sort through all of this and to get my thoughts in order are my favorite co-hosts, Adam Morrow and Donovan Reinwald. Here they are.
Alabama Take projection.
With me, it's Adam, and it's Donovan, and it's me. We're going to continue our thoughts on the TV series Task, not to be confused with the late 1980s cartoon series Mask.
You know what I realized this week, Blaine? A task is both the force and something you have to do.
There's something there.
That's what the people come for.
It continues on HBO. On the date of our recording, it's aired 3 powerful episodes, we assume.
I'm only a degree of separation away from Mark Ruffalo. You know that, right?
Through
Dr. Matt Jones, who is down at the University of Florida. And he has the distinction of being, if you are watching the last season, maybe the last episode of The Wire, we spotted him. His leg's a little goofed up. He's in like a cast or something. He's walking his dog as a teenager because he's from Baltimore. And he worked with Wally Lamb for a while. So he met Mark Ruffalo when they were doing, not I Know This Much Is True, but the other one, the Wally Lamb show.
And how do you know the doctor?
He was in my wife's PhD program.
Oh. A Task is written by Brad Inglesby. Pretty famous, I suppose, at this point for Mayor of Easttown, also on HBO. Task is Mark Ruffalo, as we mentioned, and Tom Pelphrey, opposite sides of the law in a Philadelphia suburb. We pointed out last week that this show is as much about family as it is about crime or crime drama. Mayor of Easttown vibes prevalent with that. It was as much about interpersonal relationships as it was about solving a crime.
I'd agree with that. You know, it's with great tragedies, right? It's not really as interested in the action, right, as the dilemmas the action unfolds. You know, like, okay, well, I've got to bury my dead brothers, but the king says anyone who will do that will be executed. What do I do now? Same thing with this. It's not the unfolding of consequences.
It's such a foreboding way to chart a story arc. The unfolding of consequences. Is that what you said?
At least it's supping a bit from the cup of the tragic so far.
Yes.
With 2 episodes, well, 3 by the time we're out. We'll sit on specifics. Still enjoying it, though?
Thumbs up from this guy.
Did it get better for you, deeper?
I'm thinking, because we've really almost hit the point where I was kind of wondering if some of the things that were not said in the first episode were going to remain unsaid throughout the series. But I think we've hit I'm sure there are other things to discover, but I feel like the second one really kind of laid its cards on the table with the relationships between people and especially the role of the dead, you know, in folks' lives. I was actually pleased that wasn't teased out, but instead was yet another like facet on the behavior that we saw from characters in the first episode, but it did not take forever for us to get there. So that being said, I liked it, and I think it's deepening. I'm going to be interested to see it come back to some of the themes of the first episode with Mr. Task, Mark Ruffalo's character.
Well, Mr. Wouldn't it be great if his character was Charles Task?
Charles Task, FBI.
Name's Charles Task. I'm here to solve crime.
And I'm still really enjoying
Tom Pelphrey.
Thank you.
Sure.
I think I said last
he's
week.
Pretty new to you.
I've not really ever seen anything that he's been in. I think he's very good.
He is very good. He gives a very solid, strong performance. He seems real.
He does a good job of, like, maybe this is not quite it, but someone who's almost befuddled by the circumstances in which he finds himself, with his presumed wife or partner leaving, kids he's got, his brother's gone, his not that he's like hapless or anything like that, but a little overwhelmed maybe.
As any of us would be, yeah. So he's real. I think the rest of it we'll save for specifics on the spoiler side of our show, which takes us to Alien Earth. It's so funny. Last week I kept talking about this show as if it was ending, but it has one more episode. Sorry about that. That may be why there's no news of a second season yet anyway. Sometimes they wait until the last episode's aired. But Noah Hawley is the showrunner here. He's no stranger to continuing a story with his own fingerprint on it. And he's doing so here with Alien Earth franchise. Similar name, spaceship hits a future Earth, all hell breaks loose, and that's your setup. I am midway through. I'm around episode 5. Still love the show a lot.
Yeah, we'll talk about it maybe in the spoiler section. The words criminal negligence come to mind at various points in these episodes.
Because of the characters, or that it wasn't
the actions of the characters. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm also enjoying it a lot. I think one of the things that it's done through what I've seen with some degree of effectiveness is make you sympathetic for some of these extraterrestrial creatures that have found themselves upon our Earth,
Yeah.
Which is a wrinkle we haven't really seen in the Alien franchise.
Agreed. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's a little different for Alien, and that's what you want. You want a little of the same, a little of the different when you come into a franchise. Something new.
Noah, if you're listening, because I know you're listening.
This is Noah Hawley you're addressing?
This is Noah Hawley I'm addressing.
It's Mr. Hawley to you then.
Mr. Hawley. Whoever designed your sets, costumes, etc., give them about a zillion% raise.
Whatever you're paying them, pay them double.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it as somebody who's seen the first Alien and think like it looks very much of a piece with that kind of retro-futuristic technology. Blaine, I assume you're just enjoying it as great set work, right? Like it absolutely creates the world so quickly.
I do think it's a great set. It's great science fiction. It's got themes that are interesting. If you're a science fiction fan, you're going to love it. If you're a science fiction fan who likes to think a little bit about your shows or movies, you're going to love this especially. I do think that if you have critiques on characterizations are not fully developed, you may have a little problem with this one. You could probably come in and say, it's good, but I'm just not connected, or it's good, or I'm a little bored because I don't care as much. And that's because some of these characters aren't fully human.
Yeah, I was almost thinking, too, some of the characters are, like, archetypal is not quite the right
That's not quite
word,
right, is it?
But like, folks, this is not a spoiler if you look at any episode description. Like the trillionaire that's funding them stuff, constantly being referred to as the boy genius. Yes. Like boy genius is like almost a type. And he's almost a type of like rich disruptor person. Mm-hmm. Where it's like he's kind of in between. Like he's not really an archetype, but he's a little flatter because he's almost standing in for something in our society, maybe.
Yeah, he's certainly not one note, but 2 or 3 note at best. There's something to be said about that, and which we may do so in spoilers. Adam, you a quick plug for Sister Ray Davies. You guys have been busy. Before we go to spoilers, you've been.
Everybody order a record.
Yeah, you've been busy. Tell us what's going on. You got Rowan's. video?
Rowan's a new single came out in the last week. Yeah,
Good stuff.
Yep, another single come out in October. Then the record comes in November.
Man, that's exciting.
Jump on board.
If you shared it with me, I apologize, but I didn't remember it. Something I thought was really great from the Rowan's release, that music video between that was so cool, and it looks so good for something connect. Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
I know it's something probably done in post or with a camera lens, but it looks of a piece.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just genius work by this guy. His work name is Inner Strings. He does a lot of amazing stuff. UK-based guy, but I mean, he actually went to Lindisfarne and shot all of the footage that's not us is from
so cool
the island in question. So, but yeah, he did make it seamless, I think is what you were saying, Donovan, between the two.
It was so cool.
The transatlantic exchange. Yeah, I can say it's great because I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
so
it almost looks like you were there, but you weren't.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's really neat.
As I think it was Mojo magazine had your Shoals to Newcastle joke locked, but it really locked and loaded and ready to go. But to see the connection right between where y'all are and what you're writing about and where you've been, so cool.
It is cool.
Came together well.
It is cool.
It was gorgeous.
Of course, we take time to praise and talk about Adam's music because he's our host, but it is good, and you can pre-order that album, and it comes. Adam, help me out here. It's not black. It's got like a blue.
You got options here.
Yeah, you get some options.
Yeah.
Well, the standard will be a dark blue.
Yeah.
But if you order from Bandcamp, they cooked up what they're calling a North Sea splatter.
That's the one.
Which is like a green kind of thing.
I love that
I'm
one.
a sucker for those kinds of things. I know it's not necessary for the sound.
There's big arguments that you'll find some nerds who are like, oh, the only one that you want is the black one because it sounds the best.
No, there's no difference.
If there is, I do not have nice enough equipment to hear it.
That's true.
And I don't plan on purchasing nice enough equipment to hear it. So
that's my feeling as well.
As someone who spends a lot of time listening to high fidelity stuff in the studio, I can't really hear a difference, and they look really cool. So,
well, we're excited. And you said another single in October.
Yeah.
Okay. With a video?
Spoiler alert. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then the actual album releases November 21st?
14th, 7 days off. Yeah.
All right.
Donovan is actually doing a full-length film around the album. So,
do you like cats?
do you like the ocean?
It's nice to take some time with Adam. I know he's been busy. He hasn't watched a lot. He's actually going to bid adieu, and then Donovan and I are going to break down Task episode
I look
2.
forward to listening to you all once I've caught up on my television.
How kind, man. We'll see Adam later, and then on the back half of our break is Task episode 2 and middle chunk of Alien Earth up through episode 5. You want to hear episodes of podcasts that you like, but they never crop up in the streams of your podcast app. One way to fix that is to go to our podcast, Taking It Down, leave a 5-star review, type a little note that explains why we're good, that we get television right, or you like to hear what we say about TV shows. And that helps boost us up into the podcast app's listings. More people will see, more episodes to come. Thanks, everyone. Okay, you hear that? That's the music ending. That's the sign for everyone that it's spoiler time. It's time to discuss the second episode of the crime drama on HBO, Task. Mark Ruffalo, he sits at a dinner table with his young daughter and older daughter, and he hears both their arguments on why their son deserves a family member to speak at his hearing for killing their mother. You know, this is fun times. A sitcom.
Yeah, such a normal family meeting. They had to have a lawyer there.
They will have a lawyer. And apparently Tom has an older daughter who from marriage.
Yes.
I almost said previous marriage, but it's not a previous marriage.
With the relationship seems, if I'm not misunderstanding, his daughter, not his daughter Sarah, who lives in Chicago, but his other daughter and his son were adopted.
That's right. Their brother and sister probably biological, and they're both adopted.
Yes. And it seems like, based on something that she said, they were adopted not as babies. but old enough. She kind of mentions in her victim impact statement that she can describe how their life was before they were adopted.
Which doesn't sound good.
No, it does not. No, it does not.
In fact, this episode is called Family Statements. It's good to open here. You get a little bit more reason why Tom is an alcoholic, why he fills up a 32-ounce cup of vodka every day and drinks it.
I mean, my God, wouldn't you?
He's got an older daughter with a baby. She lives in Chicago. She has to fly in. He's got her there to sit her down. Let's talk about our son being in jail. And, oh, by the way, the son's in jail because he killed the mom.
Yeah.
Which I brought up last week. I said I wouldn't be surprised if the son's in jail to kill the mom the way Tom's reacting.
Yeah, you were right.
I didn't know that.
It's sad, too. I'm always curious about storylines with people afflicted with mental illness. So let me say, I'm of two thoughts here. One is I think there's a tendency to make people with mental illness seem very scary.
Yeah.
Whereas the truth is you're more likely to be harmed than to harm something if you have, and many Americans have one. On the other hand, I'm completely fascinated, and I don't know if they're going to explore this, but with the figure of like the loved one, it's not that like they lied to you, but like you can't trust them. You're in the situation where you love them, but as Emily says, I'm terrified he'll get out. And that just seems like such a rock
That's
to
fair.
be stuck in. Yeah.
Just with this plot alone, much praise to the writers, because let's just talk about the layers. Tom, former priest, gets married, has a daughter, then adopts a brother and sister, sounds like from an abusive home.
Or at least neglectful, yeah.
Neglectful of some sort. That son grows up to murder Tom's wife, his adopted mom, and he's in jail now, and that's kind of where we are. But not only that, the adopted son very well has some mental issues, likely due to neglect or abuse. He is not the same race as Tom.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, I thought that was a really good wrinkle brought in by Sarah, the older daughter, in anger and grief, and maybe her real feeling, saying basically she wasn't your mother. She wasn't really. She could never be. Not in so many words, but
yeah. Oh yeah. She says it enough so that Tom flat out tells her, "Do not say that."
Yeah. You know, we're at least in the second episode. I think these characters are circling around. It's an issue of forgiveness, which we've kind of talked about a couple times through different shows. And I think the added wrinkle here is, Tom, I think he's decided he's not going to make a statement. That's his right. Like that's his path. Sarah is aghast that he might not get less than, I think it's 15 years is the maximum, something like that.
Yeah.
And Emily might make a statement. And I think they're all wrestling with the idea of forgiveness and justice and punishment. But I think the added wrinkle here is if you forgive this guy and say, I don't hold it against you from where you came from, he might get out and he might hurt you. You don't know. Mm-hmm. Not that he's been created to be a villain or demonized, but you can sense this very real fear in the family members.
Smart on the show not to even show the young man yet.
Yeah.
We don't even know him. Also smart, tough to call a smart decision, but he didn't just have an episode and murder someone. He murdered his mom.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that? Well, that's up in the air. But we do get introduced to the Dark Hearts. Huge gang, and going to be a huge gang in the going forward. So apparently this is a rival gang and Robbie's been targeting them for cash specifically. So Robbie wasn't just out to get more money. There was a bit of recompense here.
Seems that way.
It seems that way.
Because we learn from a story what probably happened to his brother Billy.
His brother Billy seems to have known Jason Wilkes. That's the leader of the Dark Hearts in that area, in the Philadelphia area. And Jason Wilkes, a very tatted up Dark Hearts leader, there were pictures of him and Robbie's brother, so they've known each other.
Well, and they mention, unless I completely misunderstood this, the guy who was beaten to death for a transgression, they mentioned his name was Bobby.
And that's Robbie's brother?
Yeah, if I remember correctly. And then Maeve knows the names of the child that has been abducted, the parents' names.
That's right.
So it seems like it's very possible that Bobby was killed by the Dark Hearts. And
Sam's the kid who was taken in episode 1 at the very end, taken in, held in that gentle paternal way by Robbie as he was taking him into the house, and that's how the episode ended. Episode 2 has Sam, as almost a family member, or at least a family friend. We knew this was coming, where Maeve was going to be very frustrated. Goodness, there's another kid. But she does take care of him nonetheless.
Yep.
She's making him pancakes, and or at least she's not making him pancakes, I think Robbie is, but she's helping him out anyway.
He gets to pet the chicken, Gertie.
He loves the chicken.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, I know. It's a kind one. Not all chickens are kind. They like to pet.
No, they're not.
So they're introducing characters. I think they're doing so at a slow enough pace where it's a complex story, and I think I've got it all, though.
It does have echoes of Mare of Easttown, where it really was, like, the unspooling of the story was really based along the relationships of the characters to each other in good ways and bad ways. I appreciate a well-paced show, and I think the show is well-paced. While it is doing a slower job of unspooling things out, it punctuates it with, like, enough, oh man, what's going to happen now moments.
Oh, yeah.
And it varies. I think another thing it does, I think we may have made it sound like overly dour, but like it's not just like heavy scene. Like it has enough characters to jump around and show them interacting with each other in different ways too. So it's not just sad kitchen table scene after sad kitchen table scene. It's not an Ingmar Bergman film, guys.
But watch out for that kitchen table.
I tell you what.
The task force does get a tip, and it's actually Maeve, anonymously. Like you said, put the pieces together, and she's like, oh, wait. This is the missing child. And her idea is to take him to the store right next to the Chuck E. Cheese type place. She's going to let him go in there. She goes next door to use this iPhone that they found. Call 911, leave a tip, jump back in the car, make sure he gets home. But he's already come back to the car.
Say, what could go wrong?
Yeah. He's back. What are you doing? What took you so long? And she's got to get the hell out of Dodge, because if she's caught with him, that's bad news. She looks as though she kidnapped.
Gonna be a lot of hard to answer questions.
Yeah. If she's caught. And she's not, luckily. She asks Sam to hide, and he does. He's a very behaving kid to be.
He's a trusting little fellow.
Trusting guy to be put in such bad circumstances.
You like in the back of your head, you're like, he's not going to go home that quickly.
Yeah.
But I thought that was actually a great piece.
Yeah, it was
with Maeve and the task. It was first off, it was exciting in itself as like a scene, as a scenario. And then we got to see how Maeve's mind is working.
Yeah.
And what the task force is doing or is capable of. It seems they're able to summon resources pretty quickly now that this kid is missing.
Some true heartbreaking moments too, where the kid was, she's got him, she's tricked him, so to speak, to get to the store because he's going to get the Batman thing that he wanted to take to school the next day. Yeah.
Was it for reading? Was that the prize? It was something like that.
His mom had promised him that he could have a Batman Lego set for...
That's what it was.
For doing well at school.
That's what it was. It was doing well at school. Yeah, this kid, man, talk about supping from the cup of the tragic with Sam here. He's going to have... I am kind of enjoying the way, not enjoying it, but appreciate the way that Sam's in such a place of temporary safety, yet his position is utterly tenuous.
Yeah.
Because obviously it cannot stay this way.
At some point they're going to have to question, do we keep him alive? Do we keep him around?
A more cold-blooded person would already obviously not have brought him home, but you can tell that Robbie is not Robbie. Robbie. I've already completely lost.
Yeah,
Robbie, not a professional. Gives the kid his own name, his real name. Introduces the kid to his own family. Just not. If he's going to try anything nefarious later down the line, he has not done a good job of setting it up.
And he's also not a professional in that when he opens the bag and finally sees that it's not money, it's fentanyl, he's really up shit creek.
Yeah, what do you do with that?
You got to sell it, and you got to sell it in the biggest chunk imaginable in order to make any money.
I think this is kind of what I meant, where he seems like a little bewildered by his circumstances, right? Where I think we're only 2 episodes in, but in my opinion, they did a really good job in the first episode of like, look, these guys are like they're not stupid, but they're not like hardened kill. They're talking to peaches out in the open. They're not hardened criminals either.
Yeah. The show not only introduces the local Dark Hearts leader, Jason Wilkes, but sort of the guy who watches over him, the next up the ladder.
Perry.
Yeah, Perry's the name of the character, but the actor is Jason McShane.
Yes.
Doing some good work with his eyes where he's, put it simply, steely-eyed. He's staring down Jason. No more mistakes. We can't fuck this up anymore. And his introduction, I don't know. That actor really elevated the danger that could come.
I wouldn't want to mess with these. They've done a good job of making me sympathetic. Again, showing he's not a hardened criminal. He doesn't really want to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
They've done a really good job of making me very sympathetic to Robbie. And he's got kind of the classic, right? Like, well, the drug, it's stolen money. Am I doing anything wrong by stealing it, or it's illicitly got money, right? So you can kind of see how he's justifying it to himself.
For sure.
But of course, the danger, by the same token, the danger is so much more than that the law is going to get him.
Yeah.
And break his family apart. It's that, vengeance will be taken on everybody in his family.
It's so well done that there's family dynamics. It's just 2 very different family dynamics on either side.
Yeah. And both families navigating related losses of, like you kind of pointed out, that first episode, Blaine, and I think that was really on the nose. Maeve's trying to fill in as a mom. His partner or wife, I don't remember if it's been established, Robbie's is missing. And then obviously we have the loss of the mother and the other family too.
Yeah. And not a lot for the task force to do other than round up a few kids in this fake Chuck E. Cheese and have her say, well, which one's him?
Yeah.
We will return to task next week. I feel as though episode 3 may be the one that busts at the seams.
You think so?
I think it could be. Yeah, there are 7 episodes.
7, okay.
They're going to be 7. 3 very well could ratchet it up. So we'll talk about that next week. But instead, to close out our podcast episode, we're in the middle of Alien Earth, currently airing on FX and Hulu. And like I said, I was assuming that its last episode was going to air last Tuesday when our podcast had dropped. But no, it has one more. It has 8 episodes total. And so I've watched up to 5, and what we'll do is we'll cover everything up to 5, and then we'll do 6, 7, 8 next time you hear from us. More detailed ideas here on this side of the spoiler segment of our podcast.
Well, this show it's a show that asks the question, do you like things that rock?
In what way?
Well, you got to episode 5, which I thought was a great centerpiece for the series, where we see what goes so horribly awry in the Maginot.
Uh-huh.
It's just great. So
there's some significance in that it's named the Maginot.
Yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit, being more of a war buff than I?
So the Maginot Line was supposedly the unbreachable defenses that France had erected to guard against further invasion by Germany in the aftermath of the First World War. And France found that it was woefully, the German blitzkrieg basically completely sidestepped it. It didn't do anything. It didn't do what it was supposed to. It didn't protect France. And obviously France fell very, very quickly in the opening months of the Second World War.
Yeah, they did. And this ship's named the Maginot, which is, playing on that idea that, this will hold. But no, it doesn't.
Yes. Now, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but I loved this episode.
Episode 5?
It's the easiest one for me to talk about because it was so self-contained.
Yeah, it is self-contained. It's the one that goes back.
And I also believe a lot of it could have been prevented with the basic safety precautions of a middle school science lab.
Which is what?
Don't leave your fucking cup with no cover on it next to the unknown alien or you got no goddamn mask, you got nothing. Come on, people.
I want to back up one bit.
Yeah, let's do
the
that.
hybrids being children in adult bodies or adult synthetic bodies annoy you or ever play inconsistently?
I was afraid at the beginning that they were going to annoy or but as the show has gone on, I found I was not annoyed because who hates anything more than an annoying kid? So much so that I'm actually enjoying. Obviously, some of the actors are really having fun. Smee and Curly's relationship, where they're kind of, they're friends, but they're kind of like there's like a little horseplay all the time with them, right? It's working for me, and I mean, well, you're around younger folks, but even than I am as a teacher, but even my 18-year-olds, I'm like, they'll sometimes, I'm at college. Sometimes they'll say kind of silly things, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. 12-year-olds really are pretty goofy, 11, 12-year-olds. So
yeah,
working for me. And it also underscores just the depths of how much Cavalier doesn't care about their psyches in any way.
No, that's not their purpose to him. And
they're a test pressing basically.
That's right.
They don't even need to survive because he'll have
the young lady who plays Wendy.
Yes,
is probably the best of as far as actors go. She's doing the best.
She's good, yeah.
What do you think Noah Hawley's saying with Alien Earth about kids leading children, and maybe even the future of that?
Yeah,
with because that's what's predominantly is in 3 of those episodes. There, Boy Cavalier sending out the kids who've been transferred to synthetic bodies.
It made me think of, this is way too big of a stretch, and I don't think that this is what the show is saying at all, but we do have a sort of business techno-feudalism happening here. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of one of the points that the historian Barbara Tuchman made about the 14th century, the century of the Black Plague and the 100 Years' War and all these other things, is that in so many cases, it was young people telling young people to do there were almost no adults in the room. We've got no one with a developed frontal lobe. And I thought that's actually kind of a scary vision of the future when you have a leader who doesn't care and puts that much responsibility on children in ways that they're not emotionally or developmentally ready for. I think the resonance there too is every like for so much of our military history, right? Like one of the things about Civil War, right, is on both sides how really young a lot of the soldiers were. In South Carolina, archaeologists are doing a project I can't remember the name of the battle off my top of my head, but the battle from the Revolutionary War, they've been able to pinpoint where it actually happened because they found a mass grave where American and British soldiers had been buried together. They don't know much about these soldiers, but one of the things they do know is that one of them was a teenager. It's just the Children's Crusade seems to ripple throughout history, and it's horrible.
I don't know how often this is happening, but with the Maginot ship, it's gone 65 years.
Yes.
That takes up a lot of adulthood time that would be spent with these kids.
Yeah, your whole family is gone. I mean, we see that with Morrow.
That's right.
But your whole family is gone, even though you're communicating with them. I think it's the chief engineer with his kind of clueless boy apprentice.
Yep.
Says, his sister's in her 90s now.
That's wild.
They haven't aged, right? Because they're in suspension or something to survive the long trip. But everyone, you go out knowing everyone's going to be gone.
That's right. Well, I want to get to that. Episode 4, Observation, that's where Boy Cavalier moves from despicable to pretty hateful.
I gotta say how much I think, what a good job I think that Samuel Blinken, who plays Boy Cavalier, is doing at just being like hateful, but then it's like extra things he'll do where he'll like point with his toes or something, and you just want to throttle him.
Yeah, he's being selfish and self-centered very well. He's playing that
Cavalier.
Well, yeah, there you
go.
There are moments even where the series is a superhero horror show when Nibs attacks Sylvia as she denies her pregnancy. You wonder, well, if they decide to get too angry with the adults, too angry with the humans, then what's to come of that?
I mean, I don't know if this is going to come up, but you notice how often they're cleaning up something in the hallways?
Yeah, and I don't know.
And we never really know what that is.
That's weird. And I wasn't going to ask about it because I didn't know if you would have known.
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But I kind of wonder if, are they cleaning up after other experiments?
Yeah.
Because these children are, obviously, all they've done with them so far is tie them to them through bonds of like loyalty and reward, and no, but now that Nibs is pushing the limits of that, she's dangerous, and Dame Sylvia is scared of her. Yeah,
and Joe, Wendy's brother, has even ended up in a form of serfdom with his lung. What sort of lung have they even placed in him is a good question, but Joe, he can't leave. He has to do what they say, or they'll take that lung out, or Lord knows what.
Yeah. What a horrible vision of a future society where literally everything is transactional.
That's...
And how quickly are we hurtling towards that?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Episode 4, building into episode 5. Episode 4 is one where everyone seems to be watching or spying on everyone else.
Yeah, man, this was the one where I mentioned, I thought maybe I'm just easily manipulated. But our character, who's literally an eye, our creature, I felt some real sympathy for this fella. You know, when Kirsch is dispassionately observing him, and they put us in the alien's point of view.
Yeah,
it's like he didn't ask to come here. He never. We don't know what, or he. I say he. This creature. It didn't ask to be brought to Earth. It didn't ask to be kidnapped, just like, say, children are. Lost boys are kidnapped.
How long did it take you to realize that the scientist married to Sylvia is the actor who played Innocent Wayne, Lion, in the most recent Fargo?
What? Right this moment.
Yeah.
David Risdale?
Uh-huh.
Risdale.
But he plays Wayne Lion in...
Oh, yeah, he does. Huh. That went over my head. I did not... Wow, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
I literally would not have told you. I wouldn't... Like, their mannerisms are so different.
Yeah. Holly likes to use a lot of the same actors.
Well, I'm very impressed, and he's obviously good at his job and as an actor, and is maybe the only one on the island left with a functioning conscience.
Yeah. That takes us into episode 5, which is wittily titled In Space, No One, ellipses. That was the entry that went back to 17 days before the ship's crash on Earth, and it wasn't all as immediate as it seemed when you first saw it. Morrow had to take command. We did see that, but he didn't do so just as the xenomorph got out. But there was also some sabotaging of the ship so that it would crash per Boy Cavalier's plans, we find out.
Yeah, it's a little bit more nefarious. Because, I mean, it was fine, but I was like, at the first episode, I'm like, convenient that I hit an island in the middle of an ocean. But without that, there would be no show. But now, I was going to say, but now we know it was steered to hit Boy Cavalier's island.
As a character, although he is a kid, he did play it well where he was like, I don't know if we should send those kids. Okay, send the kids in.
Yeah. Yes.
It was also an episode that took some time to explain to viewers that people who work on these ships are working class, no doubt.
That's always been a feature of the Alien franchise, especially the first two. Our first Alien, which this episode title is hearkening back to the tagline for the first Alien was, in space, no one can hear you scream. These are all folks wearing jumpsuits. They are the captain is at best middle management and not even there.
Right.
Everyone's working class and representatives of the company are they're kind of opposed to the crew. Maybe opposed isn't the right word, but set aside from.
Right. Who else is going to take away 65 years of their life? Some of them away from family or brothers and sisters. And they're doing so together, dangerous specimens for a corporation that doesn't give a damn about them. It's reminiscent to me of any kind of labor you see in our world, mining, the labor you saw in the Industrial Revolution, chemical plants today, factory work before it all jetted overseas, smelting plants up until 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, the product is irreplaceable. The workers... We can always get more of them. That's what we see in, Mother, the controlling computer, has the orders, obviously in there, that the crew is absolutely expendable. All that matters are the specimens.
Do all the ships in Alien franchise call it Mother?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Episode 5...
Fun throwback.
Episode 5 was an action-packed episode that managed to make room for those interpretive moments of the crew pining for companionship or family long gone since they departed.
Even to the extent of the synthetic member of the crew having some, like, he will not stop staring at this one crew member.
That's creepy as hell.
It is really creepy, but it's also the kind of like lost in isolation in space. So bad that even the robot caught it.
I really wanted someone to punch him.
Mr. Terry?
Mr. Tang.
Tang, that was what it was. Yeah, Mr. Tang. That's okay. He got taken out.
He did eventually. I'm not so sure that they're, I'm going to judge what's there, but if the show continues or if there's another movie, I think there's a lot to examine with, pining for companionship or needing your family members or disappearing from Earth for 65, 70 years. That's impactful, and I think that it makes the xenomorph scares, it could make them less scary or more meaningful.
This is something that, going from the first Alien movie to Aliens, there's basically in one sentence, there's a bit that takes advantage of this to recontextualize what Ripley has experienced by being essentially lost in space for that long.
Yeah.
So it's there for sure.
Okay, good. So Morrow has a family, and he's a cyborg?
Yeah, he's a cyborg.
What is that a possible thing?
So we got the explanation at the beginning of the series, right? Synthetics are fully artificial human beings. The hybrids are, they've downloaded a brain into a robot body.
Yeah.
This is an augmented human being. So it's still his body, but he's got he's got like a multi-tool in his hand.
Yeah.
Something's been built into there.
And he is very loyal to, it's a double name corporation, and I'm forgetting.
Wayland Yutani.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because when he returns to them, that's one of the final scenes of episode 5, he talks to the granddaughter because he's been gone so long, right?
Really sadly, right? It's like, for Morrow, it's obviously all he has at this point.
So is his steely-eyed loyalist ways to the corporation also something that they implant?
That's a good question, because I think it seems like it's coming from personal loyalty, but I've been a little interested at how they're going to examine this, because other thread going through this series, it seems like these synthetics are a little off the leash.
Yeah.
You've got Mr. Tang, who's like, you expect, like, you just program a robot and it does whatever, but you got Mr. Tang, who will not stop staring at someone. Kirsch is doing his own thing on the, he seems like he's got his own agenda.
Yeah. I think that
Everyone's has less control than they think they do.
I've got 3 episodes left, but for now, I think that with the exception of Kirsch, due to Timothy Oliphant's fascinating acting, that the ship-related stuff is more interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, I think this stuff was more, too. It kind of benefited from being almost part of a TV show, but being self-contained.
Yeah, it was.
In a way.
Yeah.
And it had great action set pieces and great, creature feature stuff.
Yeah, it did.
And some really gross moments.
Compared to the episode before, which had a lot of the adolescents in their new bodies kind of saying that they are adolescents in new bodies.
Yeah. I think you can read something like, this is not original to me, right? But for example, the X-Men is a really great metaphor for being a teen, right? You hit puberty, you get these powers you can't control. And so I kind of liked it because it's they're adolescents in brand new bodies because all adolescents are adolescents in brand new bodies. So these guys have that, but these poor kids have that, but times 1,000. And are they ever going to be able to grow up into their new bodies? Mm-hmm. We don't know anything about their brains. They're in a synthetic body. Synthetic bodies can't grow or develop.
Yeah.
It works on me. These kids are so sad. It's and the way they've been used is so sad.
Yeah.
It works on me. Just honestly in the same way these specimens have been used.
Yeah, you're right. The specimens do get more emotional pull than you would have expected going in, I think.
Part of it helps for me is that Kirsch looks like he is just analyzing every single person the same way. He's such a dispassionate specter. Mm-hmm. Having the children be under that gaze and then putting the eye creature, we know that it's intelligent, under that same gaze. It's kind of okay, I get it.
Yeah,
Kirsch has
didn't even mention that the eye creature attacks the xenomorph.
Yeah,
that
was very interesting. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Man, I tell you what, folks, if you do not have a strong stomach when the sheep comes on when the sheep comes on,
yeah, I remember you mentioning that, and it was rough.
It's sad too, right? Because what's more innocent than so this is my little breakdown. I thought it was fantastic because what's more innocent than a sheep, right? Sheep can't really hurt anyone. And we see this sheep really hurt in a really horrific way. And then it turns. And this thing, it knows it's being looked at, it's watching. And it all of a sudden it's we don't know what this thing was brought here and forced to go into that sheep. This creature didn't do anything.
When you use a sheep as a specimen, you are directly acknowledging its biblical reference.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was thinking too. It's literally, it wasn't a lamb, but it's a sacrificial lamb.
Well, sure.
Kirsch still gets the best lines, saying, Arush asks him, "Is this some kind of test?" And that's what adulthood is. It's all a test. Good food for thought.
Very good food for thought. This is the end of our episode for Adam and Donovan. I'm Blaine, and we hope that you pass all your tests this week. How about that? Talk to everyone next Tuesday. Just in case you're wondering, wrapping up Alien Earth, next episode of Task, which would be for us, episode 3, and maybe an extra thing, but we'll hold off on that. See everyone later.